Hey guys, welcome to our channel. For those of you who've been watching my videos, you know my cat. This is Nininha, which means very small. She is actually a pretty tiny cat, and this is my beautiful rag doll. She is so adorable and she just wanted some attention, so I thought I'd just grab her, and she's purring, by the way. There's a lot of purring going on right now. So today I'm doing a bit of a different video for you guys. So what I'm going to show you are products that I picked up recently. I really want to know from you guys, what do you want to see reviews for? So when it comes to testing, I take my time when I test products. I really like to get a good feel for them before I sit down and film a review for them. I'm going to show you these products, and you just comment down below and just let me know, what are you interested in seeing? The more comments I get about a specific product, I will prioritize that product to make sure I test that first and review that video first as well. Now obviously she's itching to go. We are itching to go, aren't we? Okay, and mommy's gonna let you go now. So I want to start with some cream blushes first. Now I picked up all of the Rare Beauty melting blushes. I have worn these a couple of times now, but I'm not in a position to give you my thoughts just yet. The packaging is really beautiful for these blushes, but they do kind of remind me of a bar of soap. Like, I asked my husband and I said, what do you think this is? And he's like, soap? So it does look like soap, and they're also a little bit slippery. I feel like I'm going to drop them for sure at some point. Texture is quite creamy. I'm just going to show you the shade Nearly Apricot, and these are more of the sheer blushes. They don't have a lot of pigment, but they do look really beautiful. So this is Nearly Apricot. So I'm definitely interested in filming a review as well as swatch video showing you all the shades that I purchased. I also picked up from Rare Beauty, but just one of their tinted lip balm. This kind of intrigued me. I've actually been wearing this. I've worn this at least 4 times and I've kind of enjoyed it. I got the shade Nearly Neutral. Now on my lips, this doesn't exactly show up because I have pigmented lips. This is what the shade looks like. This is a very, very pretty shade, and it just gives me like a very natural look to the lips. I have been enjoying it so far. Next, I picked up one of the Kosas. These are the cream blush and highlighter duos. I picked up the shade Velvet Melon in the high intensity range. So I have been waiting for this to be released here in New Zealand. Previously we only had the light ones and they all looked rather pale, and I kind of knew they weren't going to work for me. So the minute this turned up at Mecca, which is the local store that I purchased this brand from, I jumped on it because this is such a beautiful color. I have worn this on my cheeks once and it was fabulous. So I'm pretty sure these are going to be a hit. Just going to show you the textures. This is sort of the textures of the formula. And this is what the highlighter and the cream blush looks like. It looks absolutely stunning, especially that highlighter. I think I'm even more impressed with that highlighter than I am with the cream blush, because it doesn't look shimmery and yet it just gives you this beautiful sheen. Yeah, I am really just dying to test this out a little bit more. I might even decide to pick up more shades in this to swatch for you guys. And that just kind of depends on whether you want me to do that, or are you interested in seeing more shades, and how many requests of these that I get. In terms of first impression, very, very impressed with this formulation. I will say that I'm not happy with this packaging. It just looks like really kind of cheap plastic, and I think Kosas should rethink this packaging because this isn't exactly a cheap product. Next up, I picked up 2 e.l.f. putty blushes. Hey! No fighting, no fighting. Sorry, my cats are like getting into a fight or something. Okay, so I picked up 2 e.l.f. blushes, and these are the e.l.f. putty blush. I've really enjoyed this formula. This is definitely a formula that applies creamy and then it sets down to somewhat of a matte finish. My favorite shade out of these 2 is the shade Bali. So these are the 2 shades that I have. This is the Turks one, I forgot the last name, and then this one is Bali. Absolutely my favorite is Bali. I've definitely been reaching for this quite a bit. I wouldn't say the best cream blush formula out there, but definitely they are easy to use, and I have definitely enjoyed that Bali shade. That is really stunning. I also picked up, and I've had my eye on this since it came out, and this is the new shade in Westman Atelier. Those of you who haven't seen my Westman Atelier blush swatch video, make sure to check that out, because I swatch pretty much all the shades except for Minette, and I now have purchased Bitchette, which just looks like such a perfect color. Oh my god, it's pretty. So this is Bitchette. I love this formula from Westman Atelier. Hands down, one of my top cream blush formula out there. The packaging is absolutely stunning. You get that luxe experience that you're looking for. Top notch product. I also picked up the new lipstick from Goss. First of all, this packaging is so beautiful. It's like a very sleek, glossy black. Of course, I've got my fingerprints all over it, but beautiful packaging. And this shade, you guys, I got the shade Walnut, and this is the shade that I'm wearing on my lips at the moment. Isn't that gorgeous? So I haven't properly obviously tested out this formula, but this color is really stunning. So this is the shade Walnut. Just look at that. Oh my god. The shade is just perfection for my skin tone and my pigmented lips. All I've done is added a little bit of a lip liner. I used the Patrick Ta lip liner in Oshi Single, just a very small amount. So most of this color on my lips is definitely this one. And I'm now quite curious about some of the other shades from this range. It looks a little bit shiny on my lips at the moment because my lips were very dry. So I used the Dior Lip Maximizer on my lips, and then I pop this on top. But normally when you apply this, you can see it is shiny, but it's not too shiny. Next up is a brand that I've only recently kind of discovered. So this is the brand called Rituel de Fille. This is the brand right here. And I purchased a few products from them. I started off with one cream blush. So I got the shade Delirium, and I love. I've worn this a few times now. Oh my god, just look at that color, you guys. And you can see the sheen. But there is no glitter in here. It's just a sheen. There's no shimmer either. Like, I absolutely cannot see shimmer in this formula. But I can see that it has a slight golden shift. So it's a peach shade with a golden shift to it. But you can't really see the shift, if you know what I mean. Like, normally you would be able to see the gold. But, and it smells divine. It just smells like really good quality lavender oil. Like, you know how there's cheap lavender oils and then there's that really amazing quality lavender oil? That's what this smells like. Every time I use this blush, I just end up just like smelling it for a minute because it's beautiful. This, oh my god, I'm obsessed with this shade. How gorgeous. Okay. Oh my god, I love it. I can't say enough good things about this shade. With these cream blushes, they come in two finishes. This one is called Inner Glow Cream Pigment, and then the other one that I have is called Color Nectar Pigment Balm. And there's absolutely differences in terms of what the formula is like. I'm going to pop them close by so you'll be able to see. So the Inner Cream Pigment, which are these ones right here, they are slightly more opaque, have a little bit more pigmentation than these, which are the cream, sorry, I get this confused all the time, which are the Nectar Pigment Balms. And so these are slightly more dewy, a little bit more sheer, where these are a slightly more matte and a little bit more pigmented. So there is a difference in the finish for both of these. I haven't really tested out the dewy versions as much. I did apply them to my cheeks the other day and they're beautiful. So in the dewy versions, I picked up two shades. One is Bee Sting, and let me just apply that. So you can see right here is the shade Bee Sting, which is a beautiful pink, sort of like an everyday flush of pink type of color. You can kind of tell the texture between these two. Delirium definitely applies a little bit more matte, whereas this one here is definitely dewy. And the other shade that I picked up was the same dewy formula, and I picked up Bloodflower. I've been looking for a really like a true red cream blush, and oh, this smells so good. Let me just swatch Bloodflower for you. This is definitely a true red. I mean, look at that. Oh my gosh, can you see that? It's just, it's so this, you can see it. This is not a pink. It's absolutely a true, like a blood red. It's beautiful. So I've also used this on my cheeks. It looks stunning. Again, I do need to test these out a bit more before I can give you my conclusive thoughts around them. But so far, I'm quite impressed with these cream blushes, which is why I picked up more. Like, I started with Delirium, loved it, and then I picked up 2 more shades, and I might still pick up a couple of more shades in this range. And next up, I picked up is their cream highlighter. Now, unfortunately, I picked up the wrong shade. So I got the shade Phosphene. Now, I bought this from, I'm just gonna bring it closer so you can see what Phosphene looks like. So I bought this from my local Mecca store. In the swatches that were available on Mecca, I thought this shade was gonna be like a peachy rose, but it's a very cool tone pink. And sadly, although the texture of this highlighter is incredible, this shade is way too pink and cool tone for me. Can you see that there? So that is the highlighter there. I might still try to see if I could make it work, but when I popped this on my cheek, I really wasn't happy because I have, as you can see, pretty yellow skin, and such a light pale pink highlighter on yellow skin, just, it looked weird. But this texture, you guys, oh my god, look at that highlighter. It is so beautiful. So I was really sad about picking the wrong shade for this highlighter. So I was having a chat with one of you or on Instagram, and you suggested I contact the brand because they have very good customer service, and I thought, that's not a bad idea. Even though I didn't buy it directly from the brand, I bought it from Mecca, which is, you know, a third-party retailer. But one of you definitely encouraged me to reach out to the brand and let them know I'm on YouTube, I'm planning to review their products, and I was very, well, dissatisfied with some of these purchases. Not the blushes, the highlighter, and one of the eye suits, and I'll talk about this in a second. And so I did end up emailing the brand. I got a very quick response. They apologized for the fact that I didn't have such a great experience, and now they're actually sending me some alternative products that they think are going to look good on my skin tone. So I'm very excited to see these products, and of course when I do a review on this brand, I'll kind of include everything. They are actually sending me a highlighter because one of my complaints with this highlighter was that I wasn't happy with the swatches. I felt like they were really misleading. And so they're sending me the shade Solaris in their highlighters, and I'm very interested to see what that looks like on my skin tone. Now, the other things I picked up from this brand are these 2 eye suits. These have the most adorable packaging. Oh my god, they look like little potions, right? They're like little pots of potions. Adorable, seriously, adorable packaging. I got the shades Golden Age and Exuviae, and when I got these from Mecca, I straight away could tell that this shade Exuviae was very different in terms of texture to the shade Golden Age. Now, Golden Age applied absolutely beautifully. It's slightly creamy. It's stunning. And then I applied Exuviae, which was a little bit drier in finish, and it has a really bad scent. Like, when I smell Golden Age, I don't really get a scent, whereas this one is like, whoa. This one smells like old makeup that's gone off, and that's another reason why I was quite unhappy with this purchase. The brand has told me that they will send me a new Exuviae to try out because obviously this has gone off, so I really appreciate that. In terms of these eye suits, I received this eye suit just a few days ago. It really hasn't been that long since I received these products, and I am in love with this eye suit. I have worn this 3 times already. That's how much I'm in love with it, and I'm just gonna swatch it for you. The packaging is a little bit difficult to get into, but this shade is just the perfect Look at that color. Oh my god. I am dying. I am dying. This shade is stunning, you guys. It looks like this perfect, smoky, burnished bronze. Oh my, check out this swatch. How incredibly beautiful is this color? And this shade all over the eye. You don't need anything else. Just this shade. That's how I've been wearing it. I've been wearing this shade all over the eyes, and I am in love with the texture of this product. It's not really a cream, but it's not really a powder. It blends like a dream. You can blend it out just with your finger. You don't even need a brush. And it gives a nice creamy look to the eye. I am very, very happy with the shade Golden Age. Let me just swatch the other shade for you, which is Exuviae. See, when I go in with my finger with Exuviae, it just feels... Oh, you can definitely tell the difference. So have a look at the shade Exuviae. You can see how dry that's swatched. In comparison, Golden Age is so incredibly creamy. So that's a huge difference between the two. I'm very happy that I'm getting sent a new bottle of this, because I'm pretty sure this is not how it's supposed to be. Especially now that I've tried Golden Age, I'm sure this has just gone off. So that's okay. Anyways, I'm, you guys, extremely excited about this brand because I've really been enjoying the cream blushes. That highlighter, although the wrong shade for me, has a beautiful texture, applied like a dream, and these eye suits might just be my new favorite thing. I just want to let you know I will be receiving some other products from the brand, and I've also purchased another eye suit from Cult Beauty, so I'm waiting for that to arrive as well. So when I get everything, I will put it to the test, and I'll film a dedicated video for this brand, letting you know all the details, how to apply, what's good, what's not, all of that very soon. If you're excited to know about this brand, leave me a comment below, because I'm very excited about them. Very excited. Okay, next up, I purchased two of the Smashbox Always On cream eyeshadow. So I purchased two shades, Amber and Guava. Now I have worn the shade Amber a couple of times. Amber is really perfection. So this is the shade Amber. This shade all over the eye has enough warmth for my brown skin, while also just cancelling out all that pigmentation on my eye, giving me a really clean and clear eye look. And so all I need to do is perhaps an eye pencil, a red lipstick, and I'm out the door. So definitely have enjoyed this shade. It also wears really well. It doesn't crease very quickly, which is amazing. I haven't worn Guava yet, but I think this is going to look really beautiful as well. These are very matte, by the way. So there we go. So this is Amber, and then this is Guava. They look very pretty, so I am definitely excited to test these out a little bit more. If you guys want a video on them, I can definitely do that. I forgot to mention that I also purchased from Rare Beauty the Rare Beauty concealer brush. I was definitely very curious about this because Pat McGrath has a very similar brush, except that one is very expensive. So I wanted to try the Rare Beauty one first. Now I've only used this once. I actually used it today for my under eye area. It applied my concealer really well. I didn't feel the need to go and pat with my finger, which is great because normally I'm a finger patter. I mean, I apply concealer absolutely with my fingers or with a sponge. I generally don't like application of concealer with brushes, but this brush today has worked really well for me. I think this is probably a really good purchase. Next up, let's dive in a little bit of eyeshadow palettes that I picked up. The Huda Beauty Wild palette. So these palettes that they came out with, I think 4 of them, they've been getting really great reviews, and so I picked up 2. I picked up the Python and the Jaguar. Now the Jaguar is still, it hasn't been delivered to me, so I can't show you that at the moment, but I did pick up, wow, what a crazy color story. I was a little bit interested in this just because I don't have anything like it. These are not the type of colors that I generally go for, so I thought, why not extend my comfort zone a little bit and try something a little bit different. So I'm quite keen to give this palette a go. I've already swatched this palette, but I haven't used it on my eyes just yet. This green, by the way, oh my god, yes, woo! I'm not quite yet sure how I'm going to use this shade on my eye. It's very bright, but wow, that is beautiful. Just check this out. Like, that pigmentation is epic. So those are the matte shades. They look incredibly beautiful. I cannot wait to work with some of these shades. And let me just swatch a couple of the shimmers for you as well. This is what the shimmers look like. I mean, wow. Just from the swatches, I'm quite impressed with this palette. But we know how it is. Just because something swatches really well doesn't mean that it's going to necessarily blend well or apply well to the eyes. And those are the shimmers. Beautiful, really, really beautiful. So again, if you want to see a review for this, leave a comment down below. Next up, I purchased the limited edition NARS Climax palette. So this is the one that I've been eyeing because of the color story. The color story looks absolutely beautiful. It's slightly cool tone, and those green shades absolutely caught my eye. Once I saw that Westman Atelier gave this a very high rating, I picked it up straight away. So those are the two greens I currently have on my eye. Beautiful. Look at that. That is so beautiful. A very different tone of green, I think, than what I currently have in my collection. I'm just going to pull out my Khaki Haze palette so we can compare it to that. So we can see that this is Khaki Haze and that is NARS. Now I'm just going to compare the two greens. They are definitely very different greens. In case you have the Khaki palette and you weren't sure whether the NARS shades are going to be more or less the same or not. Gosh, these swatches are so weird. So you can see there that the NARS palette has very different greens to the Khaki palette from Huda Beauty. The Huda Beauty ones definitely lean a little bit more brown, whereas the NARS is definitely a cool tone, almost like a camo green. The shimmer shades from NARS are quite interesting. It's quite a thick formula, but it glides and applies like a dream. So these are other two shimmers from NARS. I mean, that is just stunning. So these three shimmers are from the NARS Climax palette. Very wearable and absolutely stunning color story. So yes, I am planning to do a review on this palette, and I'm going to try and get it out quickly because it is limited edition after all. And I've actually used most of the shades. The only shimmers on my eye I haven't used are 1, 2, and 3 shimmers. Other than that, I've used with every other shade, and so far I'm really enjoying this palette. Next up, I also picked up the Charlotte Tilbury Luxury Eye Quad, but this is not new. This is the quad called the Rebel. So as you guys can see, I'm a bit obsessed with green eyeshadows at the moment. So that's kind of what I've been buying. Actually, one of you, and I think it was Jen, I think you told me about this and told me that I would like it. I have popped this on my eye only once, and I really, really loved how it turned out. I'm pretty sure it's Jen. Hey Jen, if you're watching this video, thank you for these recommendations because these tones are right up my alley. So those are the tones from the Charlotte Tilbury, the Rebel eyeshadow quad. That looks stunning and very wearable. None of these greens are like very bright, intense greens or anything like that. All these shades are extremely wearable. So I'm quite excited to dig into this palette. Another green palette, because hey, we're not sick of green. The e.l.f. Bite Size Jalapeno. I think it's called the Hot Jalapeno palette. So I have worn this twice, and honestly, I love these two green matte shades. I think this palette is worth it just for these two green. You don't like, I don't use this gold. I think this gold is just too gold. I don't really like this shade, but the greens, oh my god. And they blend relatively well as well, so they will require a little bit of work, a little bit of building, but other than that, they are really beautiful. Check that out. So a lot more vibrant than the eyeshadow quad from Charlotte Tilbury. That's very beautiful. So I did have to work with the mattes just a little bit. I'm going to swatch that green shimmer as well. And the green shimmer for me is okay. I don't really like this green shimmer. I think it's a little bit too light, perhaps. This is not a tone of green that I particularly enjoy, but I think this layered on top of perhaps this green matte shade will probably look really beautiful. For me, this palette is worth it just because of those two matte shades. Next up, I picked up, finally, the Natasha Denona Zendo palette. I did swatch this in store and decided to pick it up. The only shade that didn't swatch well for me was the shade Breath, which I'm not going to use probably ever, so that's okay. These are some of the swatches from the Zendo palette. I mean, just check out these swatches, you guys. They look so beautiful. So I also cannot wait to use this palette on my eyes because they swatch incredibly beautifully. Now, I haven't really used this palette on my eyes. The one look I've done with this palette is really only this shade and this shade that I did for work, and it was beautiful. It looks stunning. So, you know, those are typically the type of shades from Natasha Denona palettes that are not problematic. It's kind of the other shade. So I'm very keen. Ooh, let me swatch this as well. I am very keen. It looks like a bit of a duochrome situation for this one. Very keen to try out this palette and see what this is like because I'm quite happy with the swatches so far. I wasn't going to pick this up, and when I swatched it in store, I had to. I also picked up the ABH Norvina palette. Oh my god. This is a purchase I made all because of one of you that I follow on Instagram. Her name is Rayma. Check her out, her Instagram. I'll leave it in the description below. But I saw her do a look with this palette. It looked absolutely stunning. She also said the quality of this was beautiful and I really trust her opinion. So I picked it up. So I'm so far very, very impressed with this palette. I don't generally like buying massive palettes because I find them quite difficult to navigate and use. I very easily get overwhelmed when it comes to huge palettes like these because I don't know what shade to use. However, this one I could not pass up. Now, I have played around with quite a few of these matte shades. So I've used this whole block here, this shade, 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 and so far, fantastic quality. These matte purples just blend so effortlessly. You really don't have to put in a lot of work. They're easy to build, and wow, what a stunning palette. I think if you're a purple lover, really have a think about this one during Black Friday because it might go on sale for Black Friday, and seriously, I have no doubt once I finish testing it that this is going to be spectacular. Next up, I picked up the Natasha Denona. She came out with these new gel liners and I picked up the black shade. This is a work and set liner and this is kind of what it looks like. So I have used it a few times and it applied really well. Like, I didn't find anything wrong with this as such so far anyway. It wore well, it was nice and black, but it wasn't too black. It was creamy, but wasn't too creamy. I'm gonna have to test this out a little bit more before I can kind of tell you how good it is, but so far I've been okay with it. I also picked up the Chantecaille mascara. So this is extremely expensive. This is like the most expensive mascara I have ever purchased in my life. Now, this is actually a repurchase. So I purchased this mascara a few years ago now, and I loved it. It gave me these beautiful, fluttery looking lashes, and I used to get compliments when I wore this. It was just, I have good memories attached to this. Now, I haven't used this yet, and so I decided to repurchase it because this is one of those mascaras that's been in the back of my mind going, when are you going to buy it again, because it was so good, and I've been avoiding buying it just because it's so expensive. But I have now, and I am kind of afraid to try this because I'm not sure if it's going to live up to those expectations, if it's going to perform the same way it performed many years ago. So I will give this a go and I will let you know. Next up, I purchased the One Size powder. This is the translucent powder, and this worked really well for the face. So it was nice and blurring, but it didn't last a long amount of time. So I think the downside with this powder is, just like with any loose powder that I have, is that they don't really last long on my combo skin. They look good initially, maybe for the first hour, then my oils will start coming through and then I'm gonna need to reapply. And so I generally prefer compacts like the Charlotte Tilbury one because they last a little bit longer on my skin. Also, I tried this under the eyes and I didn't like it under the eyes because the color is a little bit too pale, so it looks slightly ashy under the eyes, but for the face it worked really well. But I'll continue to test this and I will let you know. Some of you also asked me about the hourglass powder. So I didn't have the hourglass, and because I've been getting questions around the hourglass powder, I did pick it up, but I haven't tried it yet. I'm a little bit scared to try the hourglass. It does look pretty pale, but it doesn't look white. So this is not a completely white powder. It is more beigey, but of course it's still pretty light. So I'm gonna give this a go and see how this looks on brown skin. Next up, I picked up the Zendo foundation. So this is a definite recommendation from one of you. And you told me to grab the shade 143, which is a really good shade for me. I'm a little bit tan at the moment. Right now, this shade for me is just a little bit light, but if I was normally my winter skin, I would be okay. So this is the shade right here. Just a little bit light for me for right now. I've only worn this once. It looked beautiful, so I'm gonna test this out. I also picked up a drugstore foundation. This is a recommendation from one of you. This is the Rimmel Lasting Matte Foundation. The shade is 404 Sun Beige. The shade actually looks like a pretty good match. So right there is 404. You can see it's a little bit deeper. So I'm definitely interested in trying out this shade. It has a very different texture to the Zendo. The Zendo is quite fluid. You can see it looks a little bit hydrating and shiny, whereas this is the very soft texture. When you apply it, almost feels like a mousse. It's quite interesting. So I'm very keen to try this and give this a go as well. And lastly, you guys, this brand called Brow Code, they've sent me a brow lamination kit. I'm very scared to try this and very excited because I do love the laminated brow trend that we have at the moment. I really enjoy how that looks, but I don't want to look like a werewolf. I don't want to look like she-wolf, right? I don't want to have that crazy, almost vertical brow hair look. So I'm, although very excited to try this, I'm also kind of scared because I don't want to do it wrong and then give myself like a werewolf look. So let me know if you want a review, try on, that type of video with this product. I think that these come in like 5 treatments. So you've got 5 treatments with this. I think what might be best is if I film this using this for the first time, kind of check in throughout the week to see how my brow hair looks. Like how long does this lamination kit last in terms of one treatment? So this comes in 5 treatments. So if everyone was to use just one treatment, will it last a week? Will it last 2 weeks? I don't know. So I think I might test this out, wait a little bit, and then see how my brow hairs look, and then give you guys a full review. Let me know. So hey guys, this is it. I purchased quite a bit of makeup recently. This is kind of over the last 2 months, and I still have more makeup that's coming. What are you most interested in? I know that a lot of you guys want to see reviews for everything, but I only have so much time to try on products, so I really need to prioritize what I test, what I review, and what videos I put out for you guys. So let me know what you're most interested in, and we'll go from there. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next video. See ya!